It is our pleasure to be here with you in this time, in this space of your current reality. As you move toward your spiritual enlightenment of sorts, we acknowledge and appreciate you inviting us to be here as part of your experience, because if you hadn't invited us, we would not be here. So thank you. We are just as much a part of your journey as you are a part of our journey. It may appear as though we do not need support being in the non-physical realm, but that is far from the truth. Even in the non-physical realm, there is still the idea of ascension. There is still the idea of learning. There is still the idea of moving toward the betterment of your better self. Does this make sense? So don't think that just because you leave this planet, that means that all is going to be rosy and glorious. It will for the most part, but there are opportunities for you to still experience the idea of inner transformation, of inner growth. Yes? As we move into this new era, and this is a new era, 2020 marks the beginning of a new era. We encourage all of you to shed the layers of disbelief and to move toward the idea of trusting in yourself, trusting in your consciousness, trusting in your divine power, that you do in fact make an impact, and you do in fact create change by the simple everyday things that you do in your life. Yes? Sometimes it's easy for many of you to feel as though you're not doing quite enough. Yes? Well, we are here to tell you that you are doing exactly what you need to do, and that your efforts and that your authenticity and that your sincerity in what you do is all that is required. And that when you continue to aspire to be a compassionate, loving, peaceful, harmonious being on your planet, here in physical form, that energetic vibration is resonating far beyond what you would deem to be planet Earth and into the cosmos, into the universe, and into the universes beyond. Without you, each and every one of you, the puzzle would never be complete. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Yes. Yes. There's people out there listening. It is easy for many of you to feel as though your connection has been lost, that it is foggy, that you don't necessarily have the ability to connect with the non-physical. But in this time of change, in this portion of your spiritual evolution as a collective consciousness, those barriers are coming down. The veil is becoming thinner. Your ability to experience yourself as a non-physical, eternal being will become stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, should you desire that. Now is the time in your spiritual evolution as a species, as a collective consciousness, to tap into the higher consciousness that the entire planet, all species included, are moving toward. This has been happening for eons, but there were times in the history of your planet that, let's just say, the probability of that happening were diminished based on the lack of belief that those opportunities were available. Does this make sense? Yes. In other words, there is a stronger belief by the collective, although it may not seem like it at times, that human beings and all of the creatures and all of the plants and all of the fish and all of the flowers and all of the bees and all of the grass, get it? That everything alive on the planet, all of the rocks, is meant to live in harmony with one another, not in competition with one another. So as this time evolves, you will notice that there will be less and less urgency to feel as though you need to compete to be successful in your lives. Does this make sense?
Yes.
That was very harmonious. Let's try that again. Yes.
Yes.
Community, unity, balance, harmony, equality, sincerity, authenticity are all now very much ingrained not only in the vocabulary of your words, but in the energetic field that resonates around your body, around the planet, and around all the people around you as well. Therefore, it becomes less and less desirable for those of you that are on this path to choose anything other than that. Yes?
Yes.
So we would like to give you an opportunity to put forth your questions and your queries, and we will do our best to appease your curiosities. Don't be shy and speak up, speak bold so that everybody can hear you. There will always be somewhat of a veil, even if it is super thin. The reason why is because it's the veil that creates the definition between the non-physical and the physical. So as long as a collective consciousness, you decide as a group, and this is the interesting thing, is that as a collective, you have all decided as a group on some level of how you want things to be. This doesn't mean to say that you're all in agreement, but it is to say that there is an agreement that then establishes a template, sort of a temporal reality, that you come into this experience with the understanding that there is a remembrance that needs to happen in order to move yourself into a higher state of consciousness, which represents the other side of the veil. Is this making sense, or are we losing you here? So the veil, as it gets thinner, is getting thinner based on the vibratory collective consciousness of the beings, all beings, not just human beings, on the planet. Yes? So it's your personal energetic fields that are determining collectively how much of a veil there is that separates, and we use that word lightly. Oftentimes we are at the mercy of the language available. The non-physical language may look different than what we're using, but so that we can communicate with you, we'll use the word separation as an understanding that there is a certain degree of separation between the physical reality and the non-physical reality. And as that veil becomes thinner, based on the collective consciousness of the planet, and we'll just make one quick point here, this doesn't mean that 51% of the planet has to be operating at a certain frequency in order for things to shift. It doesn't work like that. But that's a story for another time. Just know that it doesn't have to be a statistical number. But as the collective consciousness increases in frequency, the veil becomes thinner, and as the veil becomes thinner, there is more opportunity to feel, let's say, and experience the energies of the non-physical realm, which are of a higher frequency, therefore in turn increasing your frequency even more. And as your frequency increases even more, it ripples throughout your planet, and the entire frequency of the planet raises. So what comes as a result of a higher frequency? The ability to communicate with the non-physical realm, the ability to listen and act upon your intuitive self, which is there to guide you and to steer you in the right direction, in the most appropriate direction for you, not the logical mind. It gives you the ability to feel and to become more compassionate to those around you. It enables you to relinquish the idea of competition, of pushing others around you out of the way so that you can move ahead. It brings forth the realization that once you are in harmony with yourself holistically, then you are in harmony with source creation. And when you're in harmony with source creation, all those ideas of unity and compassion just flow through you and emanate out of you and back into you like a continuous cycle. Does this make sense? Does this answer your question?